Cool.
All right. So, hi, Chevy Chase. I am here with Collin Martin, who is a former cheetah. Let's see, he was in fifth grade. Collin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 2005, 2006. It was my first year at Chevy Chase. Seems like
You would know then. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. You would know.
Collin is a former cheetah. I taught him when I taught math, and he is a current professional soccer player. He plays for San Diego Loyal as a midfielder. And so I asked Collin if he would come on and do an interview with us. And I'm going to ask him a couple questions. Um, so, Collin, if you could, first of all, welcome and thank you for being on with us. This is so awesome to see you. You look amazing. I love your loyal shirt. It's been fun to follow
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
over the years. Big time superstar from Chevy Chase. So, can you tell us a little bit about your school path and what you did after leaving Chevy Chase?
Yeah. Thanks for having me as always. I was just telling you I visited in person every year pretty much since I became a pro, or since I went to college, and so this is how we have to do it this year, and it's great. But so yeah, from Chevy Chase, I actually went to Ohio to do a boarding school soccer program for like a year and a half, which was really cool. And then I came back and I did Westland for only a semester, and then I went to BCC and I was there for 3 years. And then I left a year early because I knew I wanted to kind of jumpstart my career, and so that led me to go to Wake Forest University. Um, and I knew I wanted to play professional soccer as soon as I could. And I maybe I wanted to go to Germany, maybe sign a contract in the U.S., but school has been always really important to myself and my family, and so just getting that little taste of college and that real experience was really important to me. And actually, when I did sign with DC, I was in our hometown club for 4 years. I I transferred into George Washington University to continue my degree, and so and that took me about 5 or 6 years of part-time learning to get my degree. So I have my degree from there, history degree, and from DC, I spent 3 seasons in Minnesota with the Loons there, and they were a brand new team when they first started. And then this is my first year in San Diego. So
That's awesome. So that kind of leads me to my next question. What are your feelings about the student athlete term that we often use, or education for an athlete? What are your, you kind of mentioned that already, but obviously the importance of education for a student athlete. Can you touch on that just a little bit more?
yeah, well, it's a two-pronged job. I mean, I've always kind of considered both as a job, right? You can't have one without the other. So I was fortunate, and I kind of knew at an early age that as long as I really took my work in the classroom seriously, I could have about anything I wanted outside of it. So unfortunately, my parents always really supported my education, and they made sure that they instilled early on that it was important to me, so that I never had to take breaks from my extracurriculars, and obviously I was playing soccer so much that there was times where I did have to miss class in high school, and I did have to maybe I couldn't have a tutor, or I couldn't have an extra do an extra class I wanted, but I always put a lot of work and effort into my studies.
Yeah, I
And
remember from the young age of as a fifth grader that you were as into sports as you were then, in recess and anything that could just get
yeah,
you up and moving around. You were just as passionate about in the classroom, your learning, your homework. Just a well-rounded, just all around awesome student.
well, yeah, no, I mean, I always really enjoyed school. So uh, it never really felt like a burden for me. So, and I feel like that's fortunate, because some people might think that it's a lot of work, but I think once you realize that in life you're going to be constantly learning, it becomes less daunting, because then it's something that you kind of just continue to do.
Great.
um
Yep.
and if you don't fight it, you learn that you're going to be doing this your whole life. And I'm still learning today, and I'm not even in school, and I'm trying to think about the next step after soccer, because I'm not going to have soccer my whole life. So I think that's the important part, is that regardless of what you do outside of the school, you need to create that foundation for yourself, because you're going to have your education moving forward for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
What's your earliest memory of playing soccer?
Ooh, that's hard. My family's a little crazy, because we have my sister has a like a 1.5-year-old, and my older brother's already saying that he's like gonna be this next superstar soccer player, and we're like, you're crazy. He's so young. But that's kind of how I was too. They gave me a ball when I could like just start walking, and like so. But I would say my like real memory would be Stoddard soccer. So like before, like when I was like 4 or 5, with a lot of my classmates in like kindergarten and first grade, and we would go down in DC, and we'd play like all the other little schools would have their teams. And my parents would tell you, but all the parents used to yell at me, because they would be like, this kid's overage, it's unfair. And I was like younger than all the guys, but I just really, I really liked it. And I was lucky that I had a good relationship with the ball since I was really young. So I guess that's my memory. So
that's awesome. Now, just a side question. Did you play soccer at recess at Chevy Chase?
Oh, did I play soccer? Yes. I played soccer. When the field wasn't nearly as good, but is it turf now? Or
it's
no,
not
it's
turf,
right?
But it's not turf,
No?
but it is it's a modified grass, which is awesome for soccer.
Well, I remembered when I was there, we had so much trouble with that field that there was like valleys and crevices and like
Piles of
ravines,
dirt
and it
and
was not.
rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
You really had to know what you were doing over there. So
Yeah,
luckily my ankles were strong when I was a little kid, but no, we had a blast, and we would switch up the teams, and but to be honest, at recess, since I played so much soccer too, I would play a lot of basketball, and we played a lot of the four square, I remember.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I was playing a lot of things too, but there was a point where soccer was soccer every day at recess.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
I remember those days. So I think I know the answer to this question, and I'm not gonna. I have a guess, but your favorite food. Now, if I had to guess, I'm gonna say sushi. Am I?
Yep, you're correct.
Okay.
You're correct. Yeah.
Any particular kind of sushi?
I'll eat like just raw fish, like sashimi. But I like all different types of rolls. Yeah, really.
In your home,
anything at all.
Chevy Chase, what's your favorite place to get sushi from?
We used to go. What was the place that we used to go? It isn't there anymore. It used to be across the from the Chevrolet dealership, like right off Wisconsin.
Okay.
What is it called? But I'll go to Raku, in Bethesda, and then there's a spot in Friendship Heights, right near the metro. It's called what is that one called? Do you know that one?
No, I just know that there are a bunch of places in that area.
I think it's called like Sushiko,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah, I'm terrible with the names, but there's a ton of spots, and then my parents will sometimes for my birthday dinners treat me to downtown for some sushi.
Nice.
So there's a spot in DuPont Circle that's really good. I think it's like a Michelin star.
Okay.
And so that one's been fun, but yeah, I love sushi. I'll eat Whole Foods sushi and be happy.
Yep.
So
we get ours from Harris Teeter often. Good. All right. So I know you touched on this in the beginning, but what teams have you played on professionally? I know you started off here in DC.
Yep. Started with DC for 4 seasons. And then I moved to Minnesota for 3 seasons. And then this is my first season at San Diego.
And midfield the whole time, right?
Hopefully. Midfield the whole time. Yep. And I plan on being in San Diego for the hopefully next 2 years. So, and maybe beyond. So. Yeah.
Awesome. And your coach in San Diego, can you tell us a little bit about him?
Yep.
I know he's a very well-known soccer player himself.
Yeah. I was probably when I don't want to outdate him too much, but he probably was like already a superstar when I was in elementary school.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, his name's Landon Donovan, and he's the best U.S. soccer player to play so far. So there's some guys that are coming out there that might try to challenge that. But yeah, he's been great. And the thing about Landon that's really been interesting as I got to know him is that he's so humble. Like, he rarely talks about his own achievements, um, what he's done, what teams he's played for, what stages. You have to really get it out of him to ask him every once in a while, because you're interested.
Right.
I mean, because I've watched him in multiple World Cups. He's played in Germany and England, and he has the goal record in Major League Soccer, which I played in. So he's an absolute legend. But he's super humble, and because of that, I think that, like, he really tries to hammer home that, like, he's trying to create good humans and good people and good teammates first, because those are the things that you take forever because he doesn't play anymore, so those are the things that mean more to him than any of his accomplishments.
That's
So
awesome. So
he's been a great coach. I've been lucky.
yeah,
Yeah.
sports definitely teaches you a lot of life lessons and,
Yep.
just life, personal qualities and characteristics. So that's great. I think you're
Yep.
very lucky to have him as a coach, and he's extremely lucky to
Yeah.
have you on his team. Um, so what is the best piece of advice that someone has given you just along your journey, whether it's a family member, a friend, a coach?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. The one of the first things that popped in my head is that my dad used to always say, "You don't want to be remembered as the best 12-year-old." So, and I took that seriously because I was really, really good when I was younger, but he could tell at times there was complacency there, and so he would always remind me, like, what does being the best 12-year-old mean for anyone, like, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep working, you got to if you have goals, to do it. I mean, if you want to just be the best 12-year-old and that's good enough for you, then that's good enough for you. But if you want more, you have to continue to reach different standards and push yourself along. So that was one of the few advices that my dad gave me, soccer wise, just to kind of keep pushing me,
Yep.
So
Awesome. Let's see. Can you think of a favorite memory from Chevy Chase, or anything that stands out when you think of? I know so much has happened since then, but when you think of your
mm,
time at Chevy Chase, can you think of something that you know flashes in your mind as a positive moment
yeah.
or memory that you have?
Yeah, there's so many. Um I'd have to start with my third grade with Mrs. Wade. um I was so lucky to have her as a teacher, and she's a dear friend still to this day. And I think that she really helped me grow as a little guy. And I loved being in her class. So really, from the first time I was in Chevy Chase, I just felt like I felt like I belonged. And um, I was lucky with all my teachers, really. Like, I don't think the kids understand how lucky they are to have all you guys, and the levels of quality that you guys bring in teaching. So I'm sure they'll realize that one day, and I'm sure they do know. But so that's one thing. But also, we used to do kind of like comedy skits during lunch with
Entertainment.
with our entertainment with Mr. Melzer. um and those were fun. That was kind of my first, like, um like, reach into, like, kind of entertaining an audience, and kind of being funny, and not taking myself too seriously, as I try not to do. And so I think those were good lessons too, of, like, improv, and just um kind of letting loose a little bit. And then, of course, recess, but then the end of the year party, where we do all those competitions. What was that called?
Field day, or did you
Do-
have? Are you?
Field day.
Yep.
Field day. Yeah, field day was like the cherry on the top of the year. Like, just being out there with all your different classmates competing, tug of war. I thought that was so cool. Yeah, that was just such a fun day. And all you guys obviously organized it, but you guys did such a good job of making it fun for us. So there's so many memories though. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say just a few. So
I'm glad that as an older fella, not that you're
yeah,
by any stretch of the imagination, but that you still have some of those memories. I tell the kids all the time, you'll look back years from now and hopefully some of
of
these
course.
activities that we're doing, the
Yeah,
friendships that you're making, the teachers that you have, the
yeah,
projects that you're doing, that you will remember these. And so that's neat to hear
yeah.
from, someone right
No,
here that are.
yeah, no, I had such a good time at Chevy Chase that like I have like extreme like nostalgia from that time. And it was such a nice time during my life that like I mean, my childhood home was not far, obviously. So um throughout the years I would go on runs or bike rides past the school just to get a good feeling, like I know that might sound weird to some of you, but that's how good of an experience I had. So so yeah, it's a special place for sure to me.
Well, you've certainly have had a positive impact on all of us as well. So that's awesome.
Oh, I hope. I know I wasn't always good. I had my ups and downs. I know I was kind of a troublemaker at times, but I learned a lot along the way, and and that's for sure. So
I definitely wouldn't call you a troublemaker. You like to have fun, and that was
if that was the focus, then that's good.
that's the
If
way
I was
I remember
focused on
you.
having
Whatever
fun,
happened behind the scenes, we'll leave that there. Um,
yeah,
so I know this has been a tough week for you, or a tough couple weeks. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened last week during your game against Phoenix, and how that has made you feel? Just anything that you can share with us.
yeah. So the week before, actually, we had one of our teammates got called a racial slur, which was real hard, and uh, and so it's been kind of a crazy like 2-3 weeks for us as a team, but it's really brought us together. And obviously, we all knew it wasn't right at the time, but we weren't able to address it on the field because it wasn't brought up because none of us knew at the time. So we felt really bad that we couldn't be there for our teammate at the time. And so all week we were deciding if we wanted to play the game because we felt like enough wasn't done about it. And right now in our country, a lot of us are speaking up and standing in solidarity for obviously the Black Lives Matter movement. And we felt kind of just shameful that we're standing for these things, but we had an opportunity to really make an impact and put our actions forward in supporting our teammate. And we felt like there was a missed opportunity there. Obviously, our teammate felt really supported after the fact, but so basically, we were really focused on obviously standing for what's right, but taking the right actions. The hard actions that come from it.
Now, was he
And so in
called
the next game,
a name during the game?
yeah, 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 and he wasn't able to address it right at the time. Um, uh, but obviously we tried to address it after the game, and we were upset that even the people that were involved weren't taking responsibility. So that's where we felt we have to do more. So in the game I was playing this week, we were going to hold up a banner in the 70th minute with the other team that says, "I will act, I will speak," pertaining to his situation and trying to bring more awareness to that. And just in a crazy sequence of events, I was actually had a slur used against me in the game. So we just had the craziest 2 weeks. I actually told the referee about it during the game, and he was confused by it at first. Um, but but yeah, basically, then I told our coaches, and because it was used, our coach wanted us off the field right away. He was like, "This is unacceptable." It was a homophobic slur. He was like, "There's no place for this in soccer. Let's get off the field." So it worked out that it was right at halftime. So we kind of got to regroup at half and talk about it. Um, but I wanted to continue to play the game. But everyone said, "Okay, if we want to continue, like our coach Landon thought that we shouldn't play the game, but if you want to continue, at least the player that did that needs to be off the field." whether the ref makes that decision or their coach, or if the player subs himself out. And unfortunately, they didn't make that decision. And so as a team, they were like, if that doesn't happen, we're gonna walk off in solidarity with you, Colin, because this, we can't have people saying these words to you. And I know you want to play, but sometimes there's things bigger than the game. And I was really vulnerable at that moment, and I felt a lot of emotions. I was angry. I was a little shameful, and I was shameful that it got to this point where maybe we'd have to walk off a field for something that was said to me. That felt, I was kind of in a nightmare, you know. But I'm so thankful for my teammates for stepping in and supporting me, my coach and the organization, and they ultimately knew that they could make a bigger moment out of this by stepping off the field, and a bigger educational lesson as well. And so that's what happened. It was really hard in the moment, but I really do hope that it was a learning experience for a lot of people. So
Did walking off the field, from my understanding, you were ahead, from walking off the field,
yeah,
that
yeah,
had an impact on your season?
yeah, it was our last game. We needed to win to give us a chance to be in the playoffs. We were up 3-1. We were playing amazing. We've been playing amazing, but all my teammates were like, none of that matters. You know, we're gonna do the next right thing, and that's to support you, and to step off the field if they're not going to address. You know, people make mistakes, and I think that my team now is um, trying to highlight that we can't bash the player that hurt me, and because people make mistakes. But hopefully we realize that there's certain things that you can't say, and if you do make a mistake, you got to own up to it, and hopefully the right outcome comes after it. And that didn't happen in the moment, and so we couldn't stand for that. So, and that's why I had my teammates support me. So
I applaud your
yeah,
teammates. I applaud Coach Donovan, and
yeah,
you for just the way that you handled everything. I think that's incredible. And like you said, and you've said, as long as I've known you, that life is bigger than sports. And this is a true, this was a real life experience where life is bigger than sports. And I applaud you. That's incredible.
yeah. I guess I'll leave you with this. And I think any of your students can relate to this, but when you know something so true in your heart, and whether that's simply just me as a person, I'm like a proud out gay man. There's no problem with that. And so when you're hurt, or something's said that's wrong, you have to stand up for yourself, you know. And as students, and as your kids grow older, and as they mature, I hope that they can find that strength, like you have on the back of your wall, that strength to stick up for themselves, you know. Because at times they're gonna feel broken down, or they're gonna feel hurt, but they have to know what's true inside them, and know that what's important to them, and what certain things that they're gonna stick up to for themselves.
Absolutely. Now, you also said,
Be strong, and
you made a comment about your teammates coming together and not wanting to bash the player from Phoenix that made the comment towards you. Um, and, I think it's important that we understand that everybody does make mistakes. What is, what would be one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who has been in a situation where they may have said something derogatory or not so nice to someone else? Um, as you said, we all make mistakes. It's not fair to bash him or to hold it against him. That's just going to create more of an issue. But what would you say to somebody? What could you say to somebody who has been in that situation where they've said something that wasn't so kind, and then maybe realized afterwards that they could have done something
yeah.
differently?
Well, first, you hope that they are able to just take accountability for what they said, and hopefully apologize. Um, but even if that doesn't happen, like in my case, that didn't happen right away. Um, I think y- hopefully you can find a place for yourself to forgive them, because you can always forgive the other person, and that's what I've done. I've forgiven the guy, and given him the place then to come back and maybe reconcile again. But yeah, so I think hopefully the person that said the bad thing can hopefully take accountability for it and apologize, and try to learn and grow from it. Um, but then as the other person on the other side that might be hurt, in the end, you can always forgive the person and hopefully try to move forward. And yeah,
Well, thank you, Collin. I want to give you a virtual hug from Maryland to California. Um,
yeah,
Thank you for coming on.
yeah.
It's great to
Thanks
see
so much for
you.
having me.
And I'm going to stop the recording, but if you could just hold on one sec.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to say any closing words to our cheetahs in Chevy Chase.
No, I wish you guys were in your classrooms. Obviously, it's not easy, but I know you guys are well supported by your families and your teachers, and um, even in this tough time where we're growing your minds is hard. Keep at it, and know that you're going to be better for it in the long run. And move your body too. Always stay moving, and that's going to make you feel good too. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the semester, and hope to see you in person in the future.
Thank you, Collin.